He's an unbelievable patriot. This guy knows more than anybody in the state, and maybe more than most of the people in the country. He's got secret work doing that he won't even tell me about, which kind of pisses me off. He knows I got a big mouth, so he won't trust me with any of his secrets, because he knows I'm going to run and tell you guys. Okay? But people, you're in for a real treat. This guy is the best there is. He's working for the government, although he won't tell me who he's working for. But he is feeding stuff to our president. Please give a warm welcome to my good friend, Peter Bernegger.
Most of you know that usually I'm the bearer of bad news, or the Grim Reaper, but it has to be exposed. Let's start off with some great news. Folks, this happened yesterday, okay? President Trump, he's on video, you can look it up on the internet, and he announced he is signing an executive order, and he's doing other actions, to ban mail-in absentee ballots across the whole nation. And he's going to do it. The attorneys are drafting the executive order as we speak, and they are, he's going to sign it, and there's an additional action. I'll let him say what it's going to be at the right time. This week, the House Judiciary of the GOP criminally referred former CI Director John Brennan to Pam Bondi to be prosecuted and charged for lying to Congress. Now, that's just a start, but he's been referred to the US DOJ for criminal activity, and he's going to be prosecuted. Fort Pierce, Florida, there have been 2 grand juries impaneled. One of them specifically is to get all the yahoos of the Russiagate conspiracy against President Trump. They're going to be indicting people such as John Brennan, James Comey. He's going to get a superseding indictment to James Comey. They're going to be going after Lisa Monaco, Gina Haspel, former CIA lady. They're going to be indicting Hillary Clinton. They're going to be indicting Obama. This is coming. This is the official court of 2 grand juries impaneled, and that whole gang is going to be indicted in this big Russian collusion hoax against President Trump and against us as citizens of the United States.
In Florida. Good deal.
In Florida? In Florida.
Yeah.
There's also another grand jury in New York State. There's also another grand jury in Pennsylvania. Watch the news for that. Dominion office. This week it was announced by a national security source. The Dominion Voting Company's office in Belgrade, Serbia has been cleared out. It's empty. They're gone.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the inside of that building in Serbia right there. Now, here's Ed Martin. He's the U.S. Attorney General. He follows me. He has been given a green light by Pam Bondi to open and prosecute 8,000 pardons that were illegally given out. Many of them, bribes were paid to people. They know who they were, where they paid the bribes to get the auto pen pardons. And Ed's own tweet said there's 8,000 of them that they're investigating, and he's on it. He's got a green light to go ahead and start prosecuting. Yeah. Now this is a hero, Attorney Kurt Olson. He is a former Navy SEAL. He is an attorney now. He has been given a special government employee status. He reports directly to President Trump, and he's been assigned to specifically investigate and prosecute election fraud. A little side note here.
Yeah.
If you've seen in the news, Bill Gates has been sued in a civil court in the Netherlands. He tried to get out of it. Some people falsely reported he was criminally indicted. He wasn't. But I think it's going to lead to that. There's a civil case where people are suing him, and he tried to just get it dismissed. The judge ruled no, this is the right jurisdiction and the venue. On November 27th, the trial starts. He's going to be called to the witness stand for giving out the phony clot shot of COVID and killing people in the United States and around the world and maiming us and giving us turbo cancer. He knew they were lying about the COVID vaccine, and he profited off of it. That's what the civil case is about in the Netherlands, and it starts November 27th next month. Related to Bill Gates, there's a well-known law firm that has made 7 criminal referrals against Dr. Fauci and the people surrounding him to 7 different counties in the United States. Most of them are in the South. Some are in Florida, Texas, Arizona, and some other states. Tennessee, I think, is another one. They included a referral for murder, the charge of murder against Dr. Fauci and the other doctors around him that scammed us in the COVID clot shot. Now this is the map I was speaking about earlier. Retired Captain Seth Keshel was in the military intelligence, and he generated this approximately 150-page report. I worked with him on this, and you can see this in the red is where we have found that there's election fraud. Basically, they're either stuffing the ballot box, or they're doing it at central counts, or they're doing it through the absentee mail-in ballots. This is where they're cheating, and the important part to this is, for us, is that they're spreading out. It used to be solely focused in Milwaukee, Madison, maybe one other place or so, and now they're spreading out to make it more difficult to find them. So most everybody should have a copy of this on their table. Feel free to take it home and look at it, please. So we know where they are, okay? Some places we know the names of the people. So it's in progress. Now, I want to say what actions we're doing. You always hear nobody's doing anything, nothing's happening. Well, I think some of that good news in the last week again shows that things are happening. I'm going to tell you some more that's going on, that we're doing. Public record requests. Myself and my colleagues have now sent out, across the nation, 60,000 public records requests. This is over the last few years. We have probably the largest database of anybody in the United States right now. On my own computer alone, and backups I have in saved places, I have over 9 million records on my computer. That's why it takes so long to find something. HAVAs. HAVAs are Help America Vote Act, which is written about 2002. It permits U.S. citizens to file a complaint against an election official, in particular a Secretary of State. We have filed recently, and they're in process. We have one filed in the state of Hawaii against this election officer, Scott Nago, who's our equivalent of Megan Wolf. We have another one that was recently filed in the state of Missouri against Secretary of State Haskell's, who's up here. Now, it appears he's going to be working with us, so we'll see. If he doesn't, we slap him with a federal lawsuit. I personally have filed 4 of them in the state of Wisconsin. Right? The Wisconsin Election Commission has not heard them. They haven't denied them. They said, well, we're just not going to consider them. Here, take it back. So I have a federal lawsuit that's dropping next week in Green Bay, Wisconsin against 3 of their staff attorneys. James Witeka, Brandon Hutzenberger, and Angela O'Brien, who on their own stated in writing that the commission, this is a response within a couple of hours or even a day later, they made the decision they're not going to hear my HAVA complaints. So I'm taking them to federal court next week.
All right.
Now the next one is, if you know this lady, is Joycelyn Benson, is the Secretary of State of Michigan. Now this particular Zoom or TV interview, she directly threatened citizens. If you do this, I'm coming after you. She was talking about people like myself investigating the election fraud. But she was really talking to the people over in Michigan, the patriots that are doing there. So what we did is, we filed 5 HAVA complaints against her. The Michigan Bureau of Elections has agreed to process them, and they granted HAVA hearings, which are evidentiary hearings on each of the HAVAs filed against this lady. And she's being named as a witness and will have to testify under sworn oath 5 times on election law violations that she committed in Michigan. We have 54 ethics complaints filed for campaign financing violations against various state politicians, both Republicans and Democrats, mainly Democrats. We have a lawsuit court case that actually James Spodek here, who's from Hot Government filming tonight, along with myself, and then Julie Saunders and Sandra Morris are suing the Wisconsin Ethics Commission because they won't give us the records after they denied these complaints. So what they're doing is, they're the policeman and the judge and the jury and the executioner, and oh, by the way, you can't see any of the records that we used to make our decisions in these cases. So we filed a lawsuit against them. And we are supposed to get the decision here, I believe it's November 6th, coming up next month from the court down in Kenosha County. On top of that, though, is Susan Crawford, who you all know is a Wisconsin State Supreme Court Justice. Now, Jay Stone of Kenosha filed an ethics complaint against her for smurfing. So did I. There's 2 of them filed. They've been out about -6 months. I think Jay Stone's is around 8 to 9 months out. And there's still not a decision back on them yet. We're not giving up. We're going after her still to remove her from office of the Wisconsin State Supreme Court.
Good.
Now, there's some more good news. If you've watching my post or read the newspaper, attorneys Mike Dean and Kevin Scott of Southeast Wisconsin filed that lawsuit, which was a big historic win for our state, whereby forcing that all the clerks and the Wisconsin Election Commission in the state of Wisconsin must verify existing registrants that they're U.S. citizens, and also future ones that are going to be registering day to day in the future, and forcing them by court order to verify that they're U.S. citizens. Now there's a better lawsuit that they have, the same 2 attorneys who are great patriots. They're the ones suing the Wisconsin Election Commission and the Wisconsin DOT. It has been obtained through a public records request that there's 258,000 Wisconsin driver's licenses that were given out by the Wisconsin DOT. Of course, you're paying for that with your tax dollars, to non-residents. The big question is, we don't know how many are illegals. We don't know how many of the 258,000 are registered to vote. And we don't know how many cast a ballot. That's why the Wisconsin DOT is hiding this information from us. The good news is, this case, which is still open and pending right now in Waukesha County, It's before the same Judge Maxwell that gave us the big win just a couple of weeks ago. So we're expecting a decision yet before the end of the year, in time enough where we can obtain the 258,000 list of names and addresses and process them before any election happens in 2026. So that's in process right now.
Yes.
Now I'm going to read off some other quick lawsuits that are going on. I'm not going to get into all the details of them, but they're open, pending, and we're fighting them right now. Is Artist Cherney against the Wisconsin Election Commission and the Wisconsin DOT, which is the one I was talking about. Myself against the Wisconsin Election Commission for public records that they won't give us. Myself against Langlade County to stop them from connecting to the internet, which you're going to see some pretty important documents coming up on that. Bart Williams versus the City of Milwaukee Election Commission for public records they won't give them from the 2024 election. There's a reason why they're hiding these records. You can imagine what it is. Then we have Artist Cherney against the Wisconsin Election Commission to stop ES&S voting system company from connecting to the internet. That case is currently open in Waukesha County. We also have Dennis Uecke, who lives near Waupun, versus the Wisconsin Election Commission and the City of Milwaukee Election Commission for knowingly using dirty rolls to conduct elections. We caught them. We got a lawsuit against them. It's ongoing yet, so we're fighting them. We have a federal lawsuit in Colorado against the Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold, for dirty voter rolls. We have a federal lawsuit in Georgia against Brad Raffensperger to expose them to clean up their dirty voter rolls. Now, we know we could get it clean today and they can dirty it tomorrow, but that's not the point. We're using the lawsuit to get discovery, and we're bringing in the US DOJ, Harmeet Dillon, to help on some of these lawsuits to force these Secretary of States to do their job that they should be doing, which they're not following the law, is the bottom line. I mentioned I got a lawsuit I'm dropping next week in federal court in Green Bay, and then we have 2 more being filed. We're filing one in Hawaii against that Scott Nagle, Secretary of State, equivalent on the elections. In Hawaii, they refuse to give citizens, whether you pay for it or not, the statewide voter list. That you can't even get it. They won't give it to you. You can only obtain it if you're a candidate running for office. So you imagine that. You can't even get the voter list on a county level, on a state level. They won't give it to you. So we filed a HAVA complaint against them, and then it appears he's not going to be complying, and we're going to be dropping a federal lawsuit against him out there too. Smurfing. Now I'm just going to touch on this. Smurfing is criminal money laundering into politicians' campaigns, and we have a complaint filed against Tammy Baldwin, U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin. It's up in 15 days. If the FEC, the Federal Election Commission, doesn't take action in 15 days, we're dropping a federal lawsuit against Tammy Baldwin. We have Tammy Baldwin for $38 million of smurfing in her campaigns over time. And we found up to 16 federal campaign committees that she either has directly or she's part of. And over so many years, that's how we came up with the $38 million. We also have a Federal Election Commission complaint filed against U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar. And that one is for $9.6 million. We already have an attorney who's agreed to take the case in Minnesota. When she won't answer, that her due date is December 31st. So that's coming up. We are filing a FEC complaint against the 2 senators out of Georgia, Senator Raphael Warnock and Senator John Ossoff. Now, the interesting part about those in Georgia, we found upwards to 92% of the money that they're taking into their campaigns is smurfed money. 92%. We're talking tens of millions of dollars into some of these U.S. senators' campaigns. And we have traced it back, along with help of the federal government, to the U.S. Treasury. It's your money. It's your money that they're taking. And it goes through the NGOs and or nonprofits, and then eventually it gets into their campaigns, but that's where the money's coming from. Now the importance of this is when you have up to 92% of the money coming into your campaigns fraudulently, think of this. The Republican opposing this liberal Democrat candidate, he has to run up against that fraudulent money. This is what the Republicans keep missing. That you look at the campaign financing and the Democrats are always outraising the Republicans. It's because of smurfing. No matter how many Republican donations or billionaires or however they get the money into their campaigns for the Republicans, they can't keep up with the U.S. Treasury feeding into the Democrats' campaigns. That's why it's such a disparity that you can't do it. It's the same thing happening on the state level. And look at the money that Janet Persejewicz beat out her opponent. And then look at the other one, Brad Schimming, the Republican, just got annihilated in fundraising by Susan Crawford. And it's happening too with Tony Evers and on the governorship. So the Republicans should stop smurfing, at least for the minimum, not even a part that it's money laundering. It's that they have to go up race after race after race amongst against these humongous amounts of money. And it's funny money because it's coming from the U.S. Treasury. Now some of it we've traced, it's coming from Venezuela and China and some billionaires who are stuffing the campaign finances illegally. But most of it's from the U.S. Treasury. So why do the Republicans want to come and fight against these huge numbers? So we're working as hard as we can to get them educated so they can pass some laws. I know Senator Tomczyk here has one, at least in the state level of Wisconsin, trying to get it passed to provide required CVV numbers, the 3-digit numbers on the back of the credit cards, and then also tie it to the physical street address of the person using the card. So that's not happening right now, right? This is what, I didn't know where to put this slide. I wanted to get this out here because it's one of those little nuggets you find. When a candidate runs in Wisconsin, they'll get a candidate ID number assigned to him. In the Milwaukee County, they didn't give him any number. And you know why? It's an easy way to move the votes around electronically. Tammy Baldwin had a candidate ID number, but Milwaukee County left off the candidate ID number for U.S. Senate candidate Eric Hovde. And there's a reason why, because if you know the system, you can move votes around easier. Now I told Eric Hovde this on the phone with him. So he knew, but I think it was too late to do anything at the time. But this is a death by 1,000 cuts. I could talk for weeks on all this stuff, but it goes on and on and on. Even with Michelle Obama in Wisconsin, paying people food, drink, even cash money. We have it on videotape. Jay Stone has it on videotape. Take them out to the bars and nightclubs. Everything free in the house. Michelle Obama's. That's another election fraud. Here's another election fraud. Smurfing's another election fraud. Absentee mail-in ballots is another election fraud. I'm going to tell you another quick one. There's a gentleman, I think he's a county supervisor, I apologize, don't know his name, running for governor from Washington County, Wisconsin. And he did a test. He took the Dominion machine count after one of these elections, and then they counted all the paper ballots, and they all matched up, and he says, see, the voting machines are not cheating. Well, all he looked at is the count, the quantity. He didn't look at the quality. I'm going to share for you the first time here. We have a whistleblower that came to us from the city of West Bend post office, There's a corrupt lady in there who takes absentee ballots that get rejected from the bad addresses they were mailed out to. She puts on 6 rubber bands. She takes those absentee ballots and stacks of them when they're coming back through the system, rejected. She throws them into the dumpster. That night, along comes a truck, and they pick up those absentee ballots. Now, you have a county executive from Washington County, Wisconsin, running for governor. He has no clue what I just told you. And then how many other U.S. postal workers are doing the same thing across Wisconsin? Death by 1,000 cuts. They're cheating any way possible.